everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Top 4.
Top
Four.
four.
Where we talk about the top 4 of something in comic books, maybe pop culture if we go on a tangent. But usually it's about comic books. But before we get going, Mikey, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, long box guy Tom?
I'm doing absolutely terrific. Having a great day. Trying to avoid the news today. Tommy, how you doing today up there, buddy?
I'm doing fine. How
You're
are you
looking
doing?
good.
He just answered me.
Yeah, but I didn't believe that answer.
No, that's fair.
I will defer that by saying, Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. I'm on the conquered side of COVID, so I'm feeling good. Back to normal.
Do you know where you got the COVID from? Did you get all that information? Did you
No,
track that down?
I did not. I assume it was the flight back from Canada.
All right, we've cracked that
Blame
case.
Canada.
We cracked that case. Speaking of cracking cases, today we're going to be talking about top 4 detectives that we like in comic books. Top 4. Everybody already knows mine. Don't fucking take mine. Mikey, who's your favorite detective in all of comic books?
Easily the greatest detective in all of comics books, Detective Chimp.
Easy one.
Yeah.
Easy one for Mikey.
Easy.
That's just
Easy
a layup.
breezy. Cover
And by the way, drink, because that would have been mine, but I knew Mikey was going to take him. Well, actually, it
Wouldn't
would have been my second.
Bobo drinks from the fountain of youth, making him essentially immortal. And for some reason, he gains super intelligence and decides to solve crimes as one chimpanzee does.
And wear an adorable suit.
He does have an adorable suit.
Now, how long has he been around? Detective Chimp has been around for a long freaking time.
He first appears in, I think, issue 2 of Rex the Wonder Dog. So since the 50s, at least.
It's a long time.
Maybe the 60s. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's had a lot of good team ups. He's teamed up with Batman. He's teamed up with the Justice League of America. I remember a comic book of that. He's had some good team ups. He is not a toss away character. He is really a legitimate part of the DC universe.
Yeah, when they're trying to come up with the best detectives to help solve a mystery, Lois Lane recruits Detective Chimp as one of the detectives, because not only does he do, regular detective work, he also does supernatural detective work and was a member of Justice League Dark.
And he works for Bananas.
Not just
That's not
Bananas.
Josh, who's your favorite detective in comic books?
So I was trying to buck the trend because there are a lot of great detectives on the DC side. Like there's like a mountain, right? And it's way more niche on the Marvel side. There's not a lot out there.
Couldn't agree more. There really wasn't a lot to pick of on the Marvel side.
There's no one who really grabs the mantle of detective, right? And just goes off into the Marvel world. But I'm gonna go with what I think is the closest, and I'm gonna go with Jessica Jones.
That's a great pick. She's a great detective. It's really a big part of her story. Not the only detective, of course. We also have the Multiple Lands detective, correct, too, right?
Yeah.
Matrix is basically cheating, though.
How? He can do surveillance by himself?
Yeah. He can do a lot, right? Like with that power set, like, is he a great detective?
Yeah.
Or are there a lot of them doing very average detective work?
Or are they just like, if every other person in the city is him, they're going to figure it out.
I mean, I do like the fact that the knowledge he has, right, gets absorbed back in, right? So he takes like night classes for everything, right? So he has a huge body of knowledge, but I'm just not sure, like, yeah, I'm not sure he's a great detective. He is a detective, and there's a lot of them.
But he has massive student loans as well.
It's true. It's true.
I did steal your thunder, though. Jessica Jones is a great detective. She comes about it naturally, not by any supernatural ability. She just works at it, and she's tenacious. She's good at her job. She's a great throwback, the old hard-boiled detective. Is that what you like about her?
Yeah, I love the TV series. The Netflix series for her was very well done, I thought. Probably my second favorite after Daredevil. In the comics, she has been a roller coaster of emotional and physical abuse. So she's a complex character, and they've used her in a lot of ways. But I do like it when they put her as a detective first.
All right, Tommy, you're my the last one standing here besides me. Don't take my guy.
Go, Tom. You go, so I don't take your guy.
Yeah,
I want to hear
it
yours.
is.
Go ahead, Tommy.
No. Because I'm gonna take your guy if you don't go.
Harvey Bullock, my
What?
Patronus.
I was not expecting that.
You were not. You guys, Mikey, you weren't expecting that either.
No, you didn't have to worry about any of us stealing Harvey Bullock.
Yeah,
Harvey Bullock is my Patronus.
Wow.
If I'm in real trouble, I say his name 3 times. He comes in, he stuffs a cigar out in a bad guy's eye for me. I love Harvey Bullock.
Okay.
He comes off as the bad guy in a lot of ways in the comic books, but if you actually read all the comic books and see what he's doing, especially the 4-part series about Harvey Bullock, yes, he bends the law to the point of breaking sometimes, but he has a moral compass and he uses it and he's doing the right thing. And he's a good, solid, old school detective. He's fun to watch. He is just amazing to see how he's working. He's a dirtbag, but he's our dirtbag. You guys don't love Harvey Bullock? Who the hell did you guys think I was going to pick?
I thought you were going to pick The Question.
Yeah, so did I.
I love the question too. Terrific. 5 different iterations of the questions are great.
I thought you were going to take
Bullock.
Detective Montoya's version of The Question.
See, I just thought he was going to go with Vic Sage, so that way, when somebody asked, "Did you go through my trash?"
Right. Yeah.
I go through everybody's trash.
I go through everybody's trash. I love that line. You're right. But when it comes to a real old school detective, I want to see a guy that looks like me, acts like me, dresses like me, and smells like me. That's Harvey Bullock.
All right, Tom, you've convinced me that the Question is not one of the greatest detectives in the DC universe anymore.
Okay. Then who's your pick?
My pick is Dex Perios from Stumptown.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Dex Perios from where?
Stumptown.
Dex from Stumptown.
Oh,
Dex.
Of course, Stumptown. Now, if Joe Rockford had a daughter, God damn it. We liken her to the Rockford Files all the time. What do you like about this character?
The whole comic, the whole TV show, everything about that was fantastic. The fact that every time she got into her car, the cassette player would play a different song from the 80s that was just relevant, but also uncontrollable by her.
And also prescient.
Prescient, yes. Yeah. It was just very, very on point. The fact that she was always in a situation that was totally out of her control. And yet she was always coming to the right conclusions, finding the clues she needed, and solving the case.
Yeah,
an interesting character. I like. Yeah, an interesting character. I liked her backstory.
And it also dealt with PTSD in a great way as well.
I
How
thought
did that show only have 1 season? Sorry, Tom.
I have no idea.
Again, but really, it was 1 season, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
God damn it! I liked that show.
It was a good show.
But the comic is also great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. Does anyone have any big runners up? We didn't mention the question now, so I definitely got to say the question.
Question's definitely in there.
Elongated Man.
Yeah.
Elongated Man.
Elongated Man. Like the second, sometimes called the second best detective
Batman?
in the Justice League after Batman.
Yeah.
I guess we should mention Batman is probably the world's greatest detective, which is what he calls himself.
Mr. Terrific.
He penned that. Jim Gordon didn't give him the honorary ethic.
Mr. Terrific. If you read if you read the Strange Tales, you understand why they selected Mr. Terrific out of all the detectives in the universe to solve this, because he's the smartest man on the planet.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Dick Grayson.
That's a good leg up.
I think all the Batman family, eventually, all the Robins we can have somewhat absorbed some of Batman's knowledge. Certainly, a lot of his gadgets and data systems go a long way as well. Yeah.
Nothing Batman does is going to hold up in court. You want to see real detectives? You go and read Gotham Central.
Thank you, Mike.
written by Greg Rucka, who also
Greg Rucka
wrote
also wrote Stumptown.
Stumptown. There you go. Greg Rucka is the author you want to read if you're into comics and want to read detective stories. Check that out.
Let me put this as an odd honorable mention, because one of my favorite detectives, who wasn't a very good detective except if he worked backwards, was the Martian Manhunter. You remember those, Mike?
Yeah, because he knew who did it. He would just have to figure out how to prove.
Yeah. So he could read minds. He could read minds. And in the early comic books, he was a detective, kind of, who read the minds of the criminals, knew they did it, but then had to find all the evidence to bring it to court, because without that, you can't just say, oh, I read his mind.
Yeah.
So that kind of made it really fun. And also, it showed you that, police investigation and work is actually kind of difficult.
And for in cahoots with Detective Chimp in Justice League Dark, I'll put Constantine on the list.
Yeah, he's a good detective. He figures stuff out, and he has a better grasp of and knowledge of the human condition than most people. But that grasp is tainted by the fact that he thinks we're all bastards.
Yeah, and sometimes he uses magic to figure shit out.
Yeah.
But and I think my last big one was Lois Lane. I know sometimes she needs Detective Chimp's help, but Lois Lane as a character without any powers in the DC universe goes a long way to figuring shit out and let Superman know what she found out, right?
If we ever did investigative reporter, she'd definitely be on the top of my list. But as a caveat side note, you're right. Detective work is a big part of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's our top
Pulitzer
4.
Prize.
Yeah. How many Pulitzer Prizes has she won?
I don't know. 5?
You know what? Let's go with 5.
Yeah, let's go with 5. Let's go with 4. Because it's not 4.
4.
Definitely 4.
And if you enjoyed our top 4, Mikey, where can they see our regular podcast or hear our regular podcast?
Go to anywhere you get your podcasts and search for the Long Box Guys, and you will find us. You may have to search a lot, depending on what platform you're on.
Definitely a lot.
But
just look for the symbol in Mike's background. If that's there, that's us.
Yeah.
Damn right.
It's
and Mike,
probably
who
all
did that
one
beautiful
word.
symbol?
Victor Dandridge.
Victor Dandridge, our good heart Superman comics.
Yeah.
And that's from the Kindergartnerians, right? The background?
Yes.
Yeah.
God, I love that guy. And you can find us on our Patreon page for a mere $1 a month.
$1
a month. What? That's like
nothing.
A seventh of a cup of coffee these days.
Seventh of a cup, that much coffee. You can get another podcast that we do. And you can also support the Elizabeth Peabody House, where all the money goes to feed families. This week we fed about 300 families, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're doing good. You're not just doing well, you're doing good. Thanks. And don't forget to like, subscribe, do that, do this, whatever you millennials do. Have a great day. Thank you from the Long Box, guys.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.